Ben Foster has finally arrived, and Will Ferrell offered to massage the Wrexham players? Spoiler alert if you haven't seen Season 2, Episodes 8 and 9 of Welcome to Wrexham. Wrexham games keep getting postponed as a result of their cup run, frigid conditions, and the Queen's death. This sets up 9 matches between February 11th and March 11th. The fixture buildup is really impacting the players with injuries, and squad depth is being tested. Apparently, Ryan Reynolds didn't know how physical of a sport this was. Will Ferrell is in town for Wrexham vs Wealdstone. Phil Parkinson couldn't believe it, and neither could the lads. Will puts the team on the spot, asking if they like Ryan and Rob, calling Reynolds a dodgy Canadian. Will Ferrell was on his phone texting Ryan and missed Paul Mullen's opening goal. As the foreshadowing suggested, Wrexham are starting to pick up injuries. The first of 9 games in 28 days is a win, but at what cost? It's looking like at least 100 points will be needed to clinch the title. Notts County and Wrexham are tussling for the top spot. It's really a 2-horse race. Wrexham face Woking next. Woking are third, but 14 points back. Woking opened the scoring from a set piece, and Anthony Ford free kick levels it up before Paul Mullen puts Wrexham ahead from the spot. This was just a game of set pieces. A Woking penalty makes it 2-2, which is how it finishes. Humphrey says this draw feels like a loss, especially because it was the first time that Wrexham dropped points at the racecourse all season. We meet Anthony Ford and his partner Laura. They've been loving life in Wrexham and raising their son Paddy. Ford talks about the difficulties off the pitch as his brother got leukemia and his partner has a brain tumor which impacts everyday life. Again, this show really does show the human side of football and how football is the focus and the priority, but when situations like this come up, footy goes out the window. Football could be a great distraction, but as Anthony mentioned, it's hard to go out there and focus when there are life-threatening situations impacting your family. Anthony left the team on compassionate leave in order to be able to fully focus on his family. Match 3, a wild 4-3 win against Aldershot Town. Didn't see much of the action, but you can tell that momentum is building. Match 4, Scunthorpe United. Former number 1 goalkeeper Rob Layton makes his comeback from a wrist injury that we saw in Season 1. Mullen scores 2 to secure another win. Phil Parkinson says all of the matches are blurring together and they just have to keep going. Sean Winter is painting to earn some money for him and his boys. It's sad how he says that no one really likes their job except for Rob and Ryan and footballers, and says that anyone who claims to like their job is lying. Personally, I don't think this is true, but I have had some jobs before that I didn't like. Still, it's all about your attitude and what you make of it. I think this is part of the reason for the episode title being The Grind. Sean's on his grind, and so is the team. Sean opened up about his life and the difficulties of being a single dad in Season 1. He said he was embarrassed by some of his antics that the documentary showed, and as a result is quitting drinking. Sean's friend James mentioned how he's focused now and has gotten away from the drinking. He's going to therapy and working on himself to be a better person and father for his boys. I'm glad that Sean is trying to be the best version of himself. Sean goes to all of his son Charlie's games and feels like he's living through his son's eyes. Now he's coaching Lenny's team. He wanted to coach Charlie's team but couldn't commit, so now he's taking that opportunity to coach his youngest son. Match 5, Dorking Wanderers. Elliot Lee delivers and we get a great reaction from Millie as Wrexham win 3-1. Ryan's just focusing on taking care of business rather than seeing how Notts County are getting on. Match 6, Chesterfield. Elliot Lee has been stepping up with goals lately. He mentions how this fixture congestion is an absolute grind. Wrexham go top after a 2-1 win. Match 7, Maidenhead hold Wrexham to a 2-2 draw, another one that feels like a loss. Luckily for them, Notts County drew as well. Sean Harvey is a veteran of the EFL and knows all about the twists and turns that can happen over a 46-game season. We meet Luke Young, Wrexham's captain. He's a calming presence in the team and hugely important to their success. People like Youngie for his hard-working attitude. He's grateful to be a professional footballer and is very consistent. Rob McElhenney calls him one of the unsung heroes of the entire organization. Ryan Reynolds looks into Young's stats. He runs 8.2 miles per match and has an average heart rate of 175 beats per minute. Match 8, Dagon Red. It's a big win for Wrexham, 4-0. Match 9, Southend United. The racecourse ground is frozen over after a serious snowfall. They had to bring in 50 people to shovel the pitch starting at 5:30 a.m. Fans, management, staff, everyone. Kim Dutton on the women's team came to help. It was a big community effort, with Parkinson even chipping in. Sean Harvey said it surpassed anything you could dream of. Somehow they got the pitch in a condition to play, and Wrexham are victorious 1-0. The community really gave the team a lift. Afterward, the players are having a snowball fight in the parking lot, and you can just tell that they're really enjoying life. Star Wars-esque titles at the end preface how important the next 6 weeks will be after this stretch of 9 matches in 1 month. On to episode 9, Glove Triangle. Obviously, the title has you thinking about the goalkeeper situation. And that's where we start, on the training pitch, with Rob Layton, who's returning after losing his job to injury. The bond between goalkeepers is special. Even if there's a battle for the starting spot, both goalkeepers are committed to doing their best for the team and supporting the other player who's starting. Layton gets the start at Bromley. He's been injured here twice before. Pretty uneventful game, but Layton felt something in his knee after kicking a ball. Football can be so cruel. Rob Layton has injured his MCL literally a year to to the date after hurting his wrist at the same stadium. His third injury at Bromley in 3 years. Mark Howard is back in goal and Wrexham claim a 2-1 win. AKA Chomp, Mark Howard has been a pro footballer for half his life. Now 36, he turned pro at the age of 18. We meet Howard's family. His wife Lucy has been there all the way, and now with 2 kids, they thought Wrexham would be a great fit. Howard is making sure he's set up for success after his football career by studying journalism at uni. Howard recently started a podcast and brings on one of his idols, David Seaman, who's one of his biggest influences and inspirations. Chomp hopes to play until he's 40 and still feels mentally sharp. Many of you know that Ben Foster played for Wrexham last season. I was wondering when this would be included in the documentary. Well, the answer is now, with Sky Sports News breaking the story that Ben Foster is coming out of retirement to play for Wrexham, where he'd previously played on loan. Goalkeeping coach Aidan Davison compared Ben Foster to Tom Brady when his American friends asked who the new goalkeeper was. I'm not sure I'd go that far, but analogies comparing player positions in American football and association football often don't work. But Ben Foster does have the it factor about him. It's perhaps a bit harsh on Howard, who's only lost 2 games all season with Wrexham top of the league, but signing Foster was a no-brainer. Howard took it well, but it couldn't have been easy. Ben Foster has finally arrived. He was enjoying golfing and cycling and everything else he couldn't do for the past 20 years. But Wrexham came knocking and Foster couldn't say no. Wrexham helped launch his career and Foster feels grateful for it and wants to give back. Foster mentioned how the negotiations took about 5 minutes. It wasn't about the money. Foster turned down an offer from Newcastle. He just wants to get Wrexham promoted back into the Football League and was willing to accept a lower salary. Foster also felt bad for Chomp as he was the incumbent goalkeeper. But there was only one thing on his mind and that was playing football. He didn't come to Wrexham to sit on the bench. Howard also admires the media exploits of Foster and brought him on his own podcast right away. Foster comes into the starting lineup straight away against York City after just 2 days of training following a 10-month retirement. But Foster forgot his shin pads and had to borrow some from a teammate. Rob and Ryan are in town for the occasion of Foster's homecoming. Foster gets back into the swing of things and his confidence is starting to build. A big 3-0 win marks the occasion and we see the classic GoPro footage after. Rob and Ryan have promised a trip to Vegas after promotion and this has Foster intrigued. Ryan Reynolds sniffs the match-worn shirt that Foster is giving away on the Falls cast. They're gonna be great friends. As the episode concludes, we glimpse the table. Both Notts County and Wrexham are on 97 points. Notts won the first meeting this season, and they'll meet again in just a few weeks. What did you think of these 2 episodes? Weigh in down below.